Welcome to the Classic Soap Operas podcast. Today, we're talking about a true legend, a writer who was more than just a storyteller. He was a kind of miracle worker, known for resurrecting TV shows from the absolute brink. I mean, that's the million-dollar question in television, isn't it? In the ruthless world of daytime soaps, where ratings are life and death, one man made his entire reputation by answering that question. He didn't just save shows, he turned them into cultural touchstones. His name was Douglas Marland.
So, how'd he do it? We're going to break it all down. We'll start with how he became the go-to guy to save a soap. Then we'll see how he became a writer who'd walk away for his principles. We'll dive into the golden age he created, learn his famous 10 commandments for writing, and finally, really understand the legacy he left behind.
Now, here's the interesting part. Marland's journey didn't start behind a typewriter. Nope, he was an actor first, even had a role on As the World Turns. And that experience, being on the other side of the camera, gave him this incredible insight into character and story that would become his secret weapon.
The change was just wow. You have to understand, in 1978, General Hospital was practically dead in the water. ABC was ready to pull the plug. Then, Douglas Marland was brought in, and with producer Gloria Monty, he didn't just give it a pulse, he turned it into an absolute ratings monster. It was a phenomenon. And his method? He created characters that are, to this day, legendary. We're talking about the iconic super couple Luke and Laura. He was a key architect there. He created the wonderfully complicated Bobby Spencer and brought us the rich, messy Quartermaine family. But get this. After just a year of massive success, he walked. He didn't want to move to LA, and more importantly, he felt the show was getting too fast-paced. Right there, that was our first big clue that for Douglas Marland, the story always came first.
And that decision leads us straight into the next chapter of his life. This is where he really cemented his reputation, not just as a brilliant writer, but as a guy with some serious integrity. Over at Guiding Light, he spun gold again. He created this character, Nola Reardon, who started out as your classic pot stirrer, the town villain. But Marland saw more. He slowly, beautifully peeled back her layers and turned her into this complex, flawed, and totally beloved heroine. It just proved he had this amazing knack for writing real, complicated women. And you know what? He fought for those characters. He wrote this absolutely groundbreaking storyline for a character named Carrie Todd Marler, dealing with multiple personality disorder. I mean, this was incredibly daring for TV back then. But when the network fired the actress, Jane Elliott, in the middle of it all, Marland didn't just send a memo, he resigned, on the spot. That act of defiance sent a message to the entire industry: don't mess with a Marland story. So after taking that stand at Guiding Light, you could say he entered his restless period. This wasn't a guy who was going to sit around waiting for the phone to ring. He was fired up. He poured all that energy into a whirlwind of creativity, co-creating a brand new soap called Loving, and even taking a huge swing in the brand new world of cable TV.
And this just shows you how much he wanted to push the boundaries. He created a show for Showtime called A New Day in Eden. It got a reputation as TV's first nude serial because it dealt with adult themes with a kind of honesty you just couldn't get away with on network TV. It was definitely controversial, and it didn't last long, but it was 100% pure, unfiltered Douglas Marland.
Okay, so all of this, the successes, the standoffs, the experiments, it was all leading up to this, the absolute high point of his career. In 1985, he came home, in a way. He returned to As the World Turns, the show he once acted on, and he single-handedly created its golden age.
His plan for the show was just brilliant, and it was a two-part punch. First, he honored the past. This show had been on for 30 years, so he brought back beloved original cast members and put the show's core family, the Hughes clan, right back where they belonged, at the very center of the universe. He showed the history respect.
But he wasn't stuck in the past. At the exact same time, he created the future of the show by introducing a whole new family, the Snyders. They were this salt-of-the-earth working-class family that just felt so real. And you know why? Because he based them on his own family, on his own experience growing up on a farm in New York. He was writing what he knew, pouring his own heart into the show.
And with this amazing mix of old and new, Marland did something truly special. He proved that a soap opera could be important. He tackled Alzheimer's disease with incredible compassion. He introduced the very first gay male character on American daytime TV. He explored interracial marriage, a complex abortion story, and even a storyline on adult illiteracy that featured a young, pre-Fugees Lauryn Hill. He was making television that mattered.
So what was his secret? How did he pull all this off? Well, the amazing thing is, he told us. He actually laid out his entire philosophy for writing, a list that's become famous in the industry as Marland's 10 Commandments. This is basically his playbook for genius storytelling.
And look, if you only remember one thing from this whole explainer, make it this. This quote was his North Star. It's all about character. For Marland, if you betrayed the truth of a character for a cheap plot twist, you had failed. Period. Character was absolutely everything. So let's look at his rules. The first 6 are all about one thing: respect. Watch the show, learn its history, read the fan mail. I mean, it sounds so simple, right? But it's about respecting the world you're playing in and the audience you're writing for. Talk to everyone, especially the actors. And there's his golden rule again: don't change a core character. And the last 4 rules really show his wisdom as a manager and a storyteller. Build new characters slowly, don't just force them on the audience. Look for talent you already have. Give people a fair shot, don't fire anyone for 6 months. And it all leads up to number 10, this beautiful, simple truth. Good soap opera is good storytelling. That's it, no apologies.
When you put it all together, the raw talent, the fierce principles, and this incredible playbook, you get a legacy that has truly stood the test of time, even longer than some of the shows he wrote for.
Douglas Marland wrote for As the World Turns right up to his unexpected death in 1993, following complications from surgery. It was a huge shock to the industry, and that very same year, the Daytime Emmys honored his incredible contribution to television with a posthumous Lifetime Achievement Award.
And that Lifetime Achievement Award was really the crown jewel on an already decorated career. I mean, just look at this. He won Emmys for his writing on Another World way back in '75, then back-to-back wins for Guiding Light in '81 and '82. He was just consistently recognized as one of the best in the business by his peers and by the fans.
So that brings us back to that big question. What really makes a story stick with you forever? I think Douglas Marland's career is the answer. It's about respecting where you came from, building something new with patience and care, and most of all, never, ever betraying the truth of your characters or the intelligence of your audience. If you found this dive into Douglas Marland's genius as fascinating as I did, I'd really appreciate it if you'd hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And finally, I want to turn it over to you. What piece of classic soap history should we tackle next? A writer, a character, a crazy storyline? Let me know in the comments. Thanks so much for watching.